For this video on color, I just want to point out that we're not going to go into as much detail as we have in previous years. So we'll start with this. We're going to take a look at color mixing for colors of light and colors of pigments or paints. Before we do that, we should talk about the human eye really quick, which contains two types of cells on the retina. Those are rods and cones. Rods will detect a quantity of light. So really what it's doing is it's in the event that light strikes the cells in the retina, it goes ahead and sends a signal to the brain that alerts it that there's visible light here. What the cones do is they send a little bit more detail to the brain. They talk about what kind of light. And you have three types of cones in your eyes: red, blue, and green. So you get three types of signals that can be sent to the brain through the cone cells: a red signal, a blue signal, a green signal. Those people who are colorblind, they can actually still see a lot of colors. They just can't see as many colors as most people can. The reason why? They're missing one of the three cones. So it is because of this biological feature through evolution that we end up with red, blue, and green cones, which is why the three primary colors of light are red, blue, and green. Now, in this color wheel you see here, you see what happens when we mix the colors. You mix a blue with a green, you get cyan. You mix a blue with a red, you get magenta. You mix a red with a green, you get yellow. If you mix all three, you get white. Now, pay attention here, the magenta, here, the cyan, and the yellow. Magenta, cyan, and yellow are the three primary colors of pigments. You may have thought that they were blue, red, and yellow, because more than likely your art teacher told you that. That is technically incorrect. It is cyan, magenta, and yellow. And you need to look further than the ink you use for a printer. Also, it's worth noting, if you go to a hardware store and you buy paint and you decide, okay, I want to paint my bedroom sunrise orange. So you get this paint swatch and you bring it up to the counter for them to make the paint for you. What they're actually going to do is they're going to take white paint and then they're going to take the swatch, and it has a code on it. And what that code tells them is how much yellow paint, how much magenta paint, and how much cyan paint to mix into the bucket of white paint. So they're going to mix in a little bit of yellow, a little bit of cyan, a little bit of magenta. The ratios will be determined based on what the final color is that we want. Once they do that, they'll seal the can, they'll shake it up really nice and well for you, and that's what dyes the entire paint your sunrise orange, or whatever color I said. So let's see what happens when we mix pigments. If we mix cyan and magenta, you see here blue makes cyan and magenta. So therefore cyan and magenta would make blue. Likewise, since green is used to make cyan and yellow light, cyan and yellow pigment would make green pigment. And red light is used to make magenta and yellow light. Therefore, magenta and yellow pigment make red pigment. Now, combining the three primary colors of light produced white light, but combining the three primary colors of pigment would produce black pigment. Now, if you look at the practice test, you'll see that there's more things in there to study. I sent out an email saying which ones of those questions on the practice test you can ignore. That's as far as we're going to go in colors for this year.